Hey, good evening. This is sort of a midweek devotional for all of us that are going through this time right now. I have been thinking about this song from my years at camp, and it comes out of Numbers 13 and 14. And if you know it, it goes like this. 12 men went to spy on Canaan, 10 were bad and 2 were good. What did they see when they spied on Canaan? 10 were bad and 2 were good. Some saw giants great and tall, some saw grapes in clusters fall, some saw God was in it all. 10 were bad and 2 were good. And I hope you were singing along. But what this story represents is the people of Israel, after God delivered them from Egypt and slavery, helped them cross the Red Sea on dry land, and then performed many more miracles along the way. He then promised them to enter the promised land, which was Canaan. And so he had Moses select from Israel 12 men to go spy on Canaan and then to give report what they need to do to enter the land. So Moses picks 12 men to go into Canaan and to spy. And what did they find but exactly as God had promised, this awesome land with grapes that they said were so huge they would have to carry them with 2 people. And it was everything that they dreamed that it would be and everything that God promised it would be. But some of them only saw these walls that seemed like a fortress. And they only saw the giants, which made them feel like locusts or grasshoppers. And so when the 12 men came back, Joshua and Caleb were ready to give a great report about the land that they had saw. But the 10 other men instead only cast doubt and fear for Israel. And that's all that they could hear. And so even though Joshua and Caleb had this great report and that they saw God in the midst of this land, that God was leading them to this land, all the people of Israel could hear was fear and doubt. So much that they actually became angry with Joshua and Caleb. And so, in the end, Israel had to wander around 40 years, a year for each day that they kind of spent arguing and spying on this land. They had to march around in circles for 40 years before they were allowed to enter the land. And you know what else? The only 2 people that actually entered the land that were alive from this point were Joshua and Caleb. And I can't help but think about the choice to see God in the midst of suffering, to see God in the midst of dark times, and to spread that hope versus casting doubt and fear in everywhere that we go. And so right now, as we're like really in the middle of, and maybe not even in the middle yet, of COVID-19 pandemic across the globe, I think it's really important that as Christians, we have a new kind of hope, and that we spread that hope instead of fear and doubt. And I just want us to be that church. I want us to be that church that when we see fear and doubt, whether it's in emails or the media on TV, or whether we engage with it somehow on social media, that we're not the ones that are casting more fear and more doubt, but we're the ones casting hope and light on Jesus Christ. That's who I think we need to be as a church. Moses asks for forgiveness for Israel, and they get forgiveness, but they also have to wander around for 40 years. And I think all of us probably should be asking for some kind of forgiveness. I think that it's fair to say that what this is doing, what COVID-19 is doing for us as a church and as families, is bringing us together and showing us what's really important in this time. And that should mean what's really important is putting God and his kingdom first, and then our families. And then I just hope that that's what we're learning, that in this, he's pushing us together. He's helping our families grow closer together. He's helping us to become disciples in a totally different way. In some families, which is really great, watching parents and grandparents disciple kids and grandkids, and putting all of that back into the responsibility of the home. And I think that's who the church was to start with. And I think it's kind of really neat to see the church go back to that full circle. But if you want to read this story for yourself, it's in Numbers chapter 13 and Numbers chapter 14, where you'll watch Israel, who was led through some really amazing stuff and saw some wild miracles, suddenly just feed off of the fear and the doubt that the 10 men cast. So I'm asking us at Lampeter Church of the Brethren to be like Joshua and Caleb, and to see God in the midst of all of the fear and the doubt, to see that God's in it all, and to share that with the people that we love instead of the doubt. Let's be a blessing to the people around us because we've been blessed. Let us love the people around us because we've been loved. Let's share the hope in Jesus Christ because we have hope.